Entertainment PodS2E14. It's a Canadian Entertainment PodS2E14. It's a Canadian Entertainment PodS2E14. It's a Canadian Entertainment PodS2E14. It's the Canadian Entertainment PodS2E14, hosted by Ben Stagger.
Canadian Entertainment Podcast fans, hosted by Ben Stagger, we are back. Now, I know probably a lot of people, a lot of fans of the podcast were wondering, where are you? This is one of the longest Canadian Entertainment podcasts hosted by Ben Stagger breaks we have ever had to endure in our lives. And I'm with you here. I'm with you here. I'm with you here. Full stop. I'm with you here. But there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I don't think anyone could understand. Not even I could understand. The truth of the matter was, we were on a strike. We were on a strike for about 6 to 8 weeks after the October Krabby Joe's focused episode was there. We had multiple talks with upper management and things did not go well. So we said, fuck you bastards, we're striking. And that we did for about 6 to 8 weeks. We were outside the offices, and we honestly didn't think that we would be able to come back for a year in review episode. But we worked out the deal of a lifetime at the 11th hour last night. And one of the things in our negotiations was we said, look, can we do a year in review episode? And they granted it to us. So thank you for coming to a fair agreement with us. We appreciate it. We are back for the Canadian Entertainment Podcast Year in Review. Now, I understand when you take log breaks such as this, there are going to be people who fall off. There are going to be people who never want to come back again. You know, that's like say your favorite coffee shop closed for 2 whole months. Being human, there's some of us that are going to go to a new favorite coffee shop, right? We're going to say, F you, don't close up for 2 months, don't give us a dose. You are a scorn on our life, so we want nothing to do with you anymore for the rest of our life and many lives after that. And look, I agree with you. I'm there for it. I agree with you. Tenfold in a second and tenfold and in twos. I do agree with you. So I see why people might not come back. But for those who came back, I just want to say we're back again and we are open for business. We are looking to do partnerships with major brands. TELUS Mobile, I've looked into the metrics and we are very similar. We have very similar metrics as you. A lot of people who are on TELUS Mobile are fans of this podcast. There's a major crossover. So if you have any junior representatives that would be able to reach out to us, that would be so awesome. But maybe we look to a Canadian brand, something like a Public or a Kudo Mobile. We would love to read an ad for you or for you to read an ad about us, because the way ads can work, we're looking for other brands to promote us too. The major banks, we could talk about a promotion because this is just the way that this world seems to be going. Everybody has to promote one another. Everything is a scam, and everyone is scamming each other in some ways. even from a Canadian entertainment perspective, there's lots of little deals, lots of little cross promotions, lots of little scams going on. And I say scams with endearment. I say it with endearment. It's just a part of life. Well, I don't know if it's a part of life, but everything's crazy, man. But that is why we have called you in for a year in review. 2025. Never thought we would see the day that the calendar read 2025. Yes, in Canada too. It reads that as well, and it was a massive one for Canadian entertainment. I think the big thing on everyone's mind right now that people have been asking me to cover, I missed out on covering in the October episode, but maybe the biggest piece of Canadian entertainment the whole year was the Ryan Reynolds John Candy biopic. I Like Me, I believe it's called. Now, we were able to get boots on the ground into the theaters to see it, nor did we actually see it on demand on Amazon Prime. We can't deal with ads, so it's too much of a sensory overload to us, so we are not allowed to watch it right now because we would have to get the plan with ads, and that goes against everything that we have medical professionals behind the show, and they know how I get when I see an ad. I just go bonkers, and I want to just go on a mega shopping spree and buy everything. Like, buy everything at Mark's Work Warehouse, buy everything at No Frills, which is a Canadian grocery chain beloved by all. Buy everything at the Gap. Like, so my team has not allowed me to watch ads because I have the shopping spree gene where I just want to go on a massive Canadian shopping spree whenever I see an ad. So when I go out in public, I actually have to wear 2 eye patches because I am not allowed to go watch ads because I immediately want to go on a mega shopping spree. And I will, yes, the company, that was part of the agreement for the strike. I did get banned from using the company credit card because of my mega shopping sprees, but y'all can stick your credit card up your and sub, okay? And and in the agreement, we're allowed to say whatever we want. So I'm not even worried about what I just said right there. But yeah, that was major news. The John Candy documentary. We have not been able to watch it yet, but we have heard really good things from friends. Since I have this whole I can't look at ads thing. Yes, I've been a part of ads, but I can't look at them. I've been doing a lot of grassroots, just phone calling people about their Canadian entertainment watch habits this year, and I've had a lot of incredible phone call conversations with people about this John Candy documentary. We've talked for 2 hours about this lovable man who grew up in Newmarket, I believe, or he spent his last years in Newmarket and just had such a cool look to him. He just dazzled up our screens. I never saw any of his movies in theaters, but I saw a couple on home video and streaming. Back when streaming didn't have ads, I was allowed to watch streaming, and yeah, I just love the way he moved, the way his tonal voice was. He had such a brilliant timbre, and just seeing him in all those heartwarming moments and sometimes doing things that were rather clumsy or just he thought he was doing the right thing, but society did it. I just related to him so hard in so many ways. So I just want to give a mega 3 cheers to John Candy. Cheers right now. Hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. I celebrate John Candy today. I will see the movie if it ever goes back to theaters. I'm hoping 2026 they do a 1-year sort of anniversary of when Ryan Reynolds attended the Toronto International Film Festival in that dinky, smelly, smoky car from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He just was so humbled by the movie that he said, no, we're doing No Frills. We are just driving this dinky ass car with we're driving it ourselves. We're not gonna get a chauffeur or anything. Like, he just was so humble at the premiere. So hats off to Ryan Reynolds to driving that smoky little car to there. That was so. I really just was like, yes, Ryan, yes, you are my hero. I said that. And to know that Deadpool is a Canadian just fills me up with, I don't know, when I found out Deadpool was a Canadian, it was like, of course he is. He's wearing the red, he has the black on of the black bear. We have bears in Canada. And it's just like, yes, just the self-referential stuff. It's just so Canadian. Canada's just like one big inside joke that no one else gets and no one else, like, some people care about. But, like, for example, I met someone new a couple weeks ago and they had no idea what elbows up by. And I said, what the and it really pissed me off. But I had to let it go because I said, oh yeah, Canada is just like an inside joke to some people. But like it's jokes are what keeps the world spinning on its axis, and I have so much access to Canadian entertainment. And I never got a press card this year for the Toronto International Film Festival. So everything I hear about is just all word of mouth, all phone calls. My phone bill is going to be so insane this year. I've been doing some of the calls from phone booths as well. I just, whatever I can to get the word out. There's just been a lot behind the scenes stuff. So please, everyone loves to just like, not pick up phone calls these days. No one trusts anyone anymore. But pick up the phone, man, because I might be calling you, asking you what you thought of Heated Rivalry, which I will be watching one day when I can get the version of Crave, which is, yes, Canada's version of Netflix, once they have an ad-free version of it. I don't know when that will be, but I hope it will be soon. I have to go get a drink of Canadian tap water. So would everyone just sit tight for one moment as I do that? And I will be right back because I feel so unhydrated right now. It's disturbing me. So I'll be 1 second. Thank you very much. We're back and we are hydrated. We just had a nice little drink of water there and we are ready to talk about 2025. For listeners with kids, have you guys had the 2025 was crazy in Canadian entertainment conversation yet? Because you really should. So, yes, the John Candy documentary was simply the biggest Canadian news of the Canadian entertainment news of 2025. But as I mentioned before, there is a show that it could become the big conversation starter of 2026. Maybe there will be that story, or we look back and we're like, oh no, actually 2025 was about this, not the John Candy documentary. We are talking, of course, about Heated Rivalry. It has struck a chord and a nerve with the whole wide world. Now, with the John Candy documentary, we saw parades in Australia, in Bangladesh, in Russia, in Uzbekistan. We saw parades for that documentary all around the world. Now, I think we're getting there with this show, Heated Rivalry, the show about hockey. It looks so cool from what I've seen. Now, I'm not allowed to watch ads because, once again, I will go on mega shopping sprees with whatever is on the ad, right? Like, I just, will instantly go to the mall and just, I oftentimes, I hire a personal shopper to come with me with just who's so strong, who can just lift so many toys and just groceries and just like furniture and lights. I love a good light and just, all the stuffed animals that I want, all the drinks and, just party favors and latest technologies. I hire a couple strong people to help me out whenever I see an ad and I go into shopping spree moment. But I have not watched ads for Heated Rivalry. I am allowed to watch ad-free Instagram Reels, and I've just gone to the Heated Rivalry Instagram, and I follow some people who are on the show that, full disclosure, I've met in real life. And it looks like a good show from what I can gather via Instagram Reels. I am so curious to watch it one day when the time is right for me. I have never been able to skate, nor have I really ever, I don't think, and you're going to punch me in the face for me I don't think I've ever shot a puck into a net, which is so surprising. I've shot a ball into a net. I played road hockey. I have never played ice hockey. So I'm just so interested in seeing this Heated Rivalry show, see what it's all about. And I hope that, they would put me in a scene one day. Hockey runs the show here in Canada. And it's very interesting. I don't know how it happened, but it just seemed to happen. It is just such it's such a wonderful game for those who play it and those who watch it all around this country and the world. And if I was wearing a hat right now, we would have a hats off to Heated Rivalry, hats off to hockey, hats off to John Candy moment for the, to tip the hats off for 2025, but I am not wearing hats right now because I think I might have a bit of a bald spot due to an accident I had about 3 to 4 years ago. And I just feel like putting a hat on enhances that bald spot to the likes we have never seen before. So I'm not where that's another change about me. I'm gonna go light on the hats this year to see if I can get any more hair follicles in that accidental bald spot that I got a couple of years ago. Now, it's a shame for me to not cover one of the biggest entertainment stories in Canada over the past 2025 year. And that, of course, is the Romeo and Juliet love story of one Miss Katy Perry and one Mr. Justin Trudeau. This is what happens when a pop star meets a former prime minister and they fall in love. There's something about the romance and the chemistry between two brunettes with interesting smiles that cannot be unmatched. There is such heated rivalry happening between the two countries, Canada and the United States. So it makes total sense that we would find ourselves in a total Romeo and Juliet love affair that would happen from these two begotten kingdoms that simply are at each other's throats right now. And you can see it all happening in real time. All of the fancy dancy pictures of Justin and Katy Perry -1, and some would say that happened in a country to become a country in the future. I believe they were spotted in Quebec with one another, and Quebec is thinking about going out on their own a bit. I've heard that from some of my sources. It is so interesting that a lot of the other pictures are in tropical seas or in the country of Japan. So this is truly a Romeo and Juliet love story for the likes we have never seen before. They are the Castles. They are from the Castles Trudeau and the Castle Perry. And the families simply do not want to let them fall in love and build a life together. So they have no choice but to go to tropical seas, to the country of Japan, and to the future country of Quebec to get away and experience the love that they says breaks the hatred of both of their kingdoms. So, whatever your feelings of these two may be, you got to give it up for love, everybody. These are two people that love each other so much that they've had to go to different places to feel their love together. Japan, tropical waters on a yacht, and Quebec. So, I'm hoping the best for their love. And honestly, life is all about timing. So my question to you two is, what? Well, if Justin Trudeau becomes the Prime Minister of Canada one more time, that will be so insane to have Katy Perry as the First Lady of Canada. But the thing is, I am a Sophie Gregoire Trudeau fan, so I hope Sophie Gregoire is doing well too right now. Much love to her and the family during the holidays at this time. I know you're probably listening, everybody, and I just have to bring it up just because it was in the news in a massive way. Now, as we continue talking about this year's year in review in Canadian entertainment, I can only imagine multiple people would slap me across the face if I did not mention Michael Bublé visiting the Vatican. Yes, to all my international listeners, Michael Bublé is from Canada. And to surprise you even more, I must tell you, I believe he is actually from British Columbia, which, no, is not under British control right now. Canada controls Britain. We have the same king, but Canada controls Britain, from what I gather. So Michael Bublé, he traveled to the place where it all happens, Vatican City, the only city in the world that is also a country, to visit the new Pope. He visited Pope Leo, and Pope Leo requested that Michael Bublé sing Ave Maria to him. Now, if you watch this back, you will see Michael Bublé looks a tad bit nervous when he is about to sing Ave Maria to the new Pope. We all know Michael Bublé was a massive fan of Pope Francis and of Pope John Paul II. So, to have this moment in front of this one we call Pope Leo, it was all on the line at that moment. It was Game 7. He had no choice but to give it his all and sing with all of his strength to the new Pope, who, yes, is from the United States of America, during our new Cold War with one another. And he literally said to himself, I am going to sing you Ave Maria right now. This is going to be such an incredible moment in my life. Watch out, Pope Leo. Here I come. It is time for me to sing Ave Maria. And he just gave it with all of his heart, all of his soul. You could hear the British Columbia twang in him. It was just such a fantastical moment. The little surfer boy from BC gave it all of his all, and he sang Ave Maria, and Pope Leo smiled, one of the biggest smiles we have ever seen a pope smile in his life. And he said, great job, Michael Bublé. We will request a Canadian pope the next time a pope becomes a pope. And Michael Bublé, he smiled back at him and said, Well, you're welcome in BC anytime you like. Here's a short flight over the Pacific Ocean from Vatican City. I can sing to you anytime you like. On the island of Victoria. And Pope Leo said, you are so interesting. You are so interesting, Mr. Buble. Where does... if once I finish this whole Pope thing, if I ever get married and have a child, I am naming him Buble Leo. And then Michael Bublé said, as you wish. Yes, so I could just read that all with their eyes from... I am an eye reader. Since I'm just like, I can't watch ads due to my shopping sprees. I am just so good at reading what people are thinking in their eyes, so it is no surprise to me that I was able to see what Pope Leo and Mr. Michael Bublé were saying to each other with their ads. Now, of course, we must continue talking about the West Coast of Canada as we continue our year in review. This is going to be a shock to many, but I saw on Instagram a couple days ago that yes, our hero Ryan Reynolds might be sharing his stake in his football club of Wrexham. This is insane. I heard that British Columbia went dark for a whole 20 days after they heard this news. Ryan Reynolds is a beloved Canadian actor from British Columbia, and he produced the top news-making Canadian film, I Like Me, the story of John Candy. And when his decision to pull out of Wrexham FC was announced, the whole west side of North America, British Columbia, all the way to California, went dark for 20 days. Because, of course, Ryan Reynolds is from the west coast of Canada, but he has spent loads of time in Hollywood, California, filming movies such as Deadpool and Deadpool versus Wolverine. And we could never forget Waiting. And we could never forget the National Lampoon movie he started with Tara Reid, called Van Wilder. So when the West Coast of North America heard that Ryan Reynolds is thereby pulling himself out of ownership of Wrexham City Football Club in Britain, the whole left side of North America went dark. They turned their lights off for 20 whole days because they knew what an impact that club had on Ryan Reynolds. And this might be a sign of the times. Why are all these celebrities why is everyone trying to make more money right now? Is money... No, I don't know. Everyone's trying to make decisions, I guess. And who knows what that means. I have many dreams where I think, oh, yes. Sometimes a dream feels more real than real life. And some people say that this life that we are living right now is but a crazy dream. Just this dream that we go back to every day. So what is going on in this dream world that we live in? What is going on? You gotta hope for the best, but what is going on? I don't know. It's very strange. And that's something I've been thinking about quite a bit. Another thing that I have been thinking about quite a bit is the decision, is what I call it. Because there was another massive news piece story that happened in 2025, which I have not covered yet. And I call this story the decision. And it was a decision between two men from a province, which I will go to sometime in February. This province is called Manitoba. This was a decision between two Manitoban men, one named Randy and one named Burton. They said to each other, "We must reunite our band." And then the other one said, "Whose band?" And they said, "Our band." And he said, Randy said, "Well, I'm in two bands. Which band do you want me to reunite?" And then Burton replied, "You sly Canadian. You know exactly which band I'm talking about." Whose band? You know whose band. The band that got your big start. The band that gave you the name you have today. The band that gave your other bands significance and credibility. You know what band I'm talking about? I am talking about the Guess Who. And Randy cheekily replied, "The Guess What?" And Burton said, "Don't play with me, Bachman. Just because the first part of your name is the major part of a major composer who loved Counterpoint, who loved Counterpoint's name, doesn't mean you could be so cheekily sly with me. I'm talking the Guess Who." And Randy said, "Yeah, I know you're talking the Guess Who. I was just having a little fun because the year's coming to an end." And then Burton said, "You are so interesting, Randy. Let's not go solo again, shall we?" And Randy said, "I never went solo. I got a band of brothers and a guy named Turner to help me out. I didn't make your mistakes, Mr. Cummings. I did not make your mistakes." And that is exactly when Burton Cummings said, "How dare you use my last name? You're using my last name just because Alan Cummings is the host of the popular show The Traitors, and you're trying to say I'm a Nepo baby because I'm related to Alan Cummings." And then Randy Bachman said, "Yeah, well, that's what you were doing to me for my whole freaking life. When the Guess Who got success, no, when Bachman Turner Overdrive got success over that song that you ain't seen nothing yet, you said that was all because of my brother, Fred, all because of my brothers, Fred and Barney Bachman. So I'm allowed to use the Nepo baby accusations against you. You are a Nepo baby. You want to do this tour because Alan Cummings is hosting this show, this Peacock original show that is the next season is going to be on NBC called The Traitors, and you know it's going to be an instant money grab because people recognize your last name. You're a Nepo baby. You're a Nepo baby, Burton Cummings. You're a Nepo baby, Burton Cummings, because of your brother, Alan Cummings, who hosts The Traitors, the Peacock original show on NBC as of 2026, but was a Peacock original originally. You bastard! You bastard! How will we figure this out? Well, I got a good way to figure this out. The only way we've ever known how to figure this out. On stage. We go on stage together, and we each pick our favorite songs. We go on tour across all the major cities in North America, and we play our hearts out. And at the end of the tour, we have a massive thumb war, an arm wrestle, and a game of rock, paper, scissors. And whoever wins all 3 of those in a row will be the one who is able to dismiss the Nepo Baby allegations. Are you sure about that? Said Burton Cummings. Yes, I am, said Randy Bachman. And they both lived happily ever after until the end of the tour, when they figure out who beats the Nepo Baby allegations. And don't forget that I know about your long-lost uncle who played counterpoint, Mr. Bach, who wrote the Dracula theme song, Mr. Bach. I know you added the man in there, Bach man, to distance yourself from your Nepo Baby great uncle, Bach, Johann Sebastian, who wrote the Dracula theme song. So you're not getting away fair and square with this, are you, buddy? We know that Johann Sebastian Bach was from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and you scrubbed the records and said he was from somewhere in Europe. We know what you did, said Burton Cummings. This is what Burton Cummings said on record. I have multiple people who work for multiple spy agencies in Canada who were able to document this all. Yes! And that is and that is when Randy Bachman went Super Saiyan. And then so Randy Bachman goes Super Saiyan after after Burton Cummings brings up the secret Nepo uncle allegations of Bach, Johann Sebastian, originally from, yes, Winnipeg, Manitoba, as it was revealed in these leaked conversations, that I am only allowed to do reenactments because of Canadian law. So Randy Bachman goes Super Saiyan, and Burton Cummings says, you think that a Super Saiyan boy from Winnipeg scares me? You think just because you could go Super Saiyan, that really scares me? And that is when Burton Cummings, he goes, he does a little whistle, and behind Burton Cummings stands Pikachu, Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, and there was one more there. I'm just really having trouble with the name. It was most likely Neil Peart's grandson, Cyrus Peart, was standing behind him and he said, you look at these 3, the 3 behind me, all 3 of them know how to do Super Saiyan. And guess what? And then he throws a Pokeball out, and out of the Pokeball comes Robert Munch. No, yeah. And Robert Munch starts singing, I love you forever. I like you for always. As long as you're living, my baby you'll be. He does the whole story. The whole story. And that was a very smart move by Burton Cummings, because he had no idea that the books of... Well, no. He knew, but Randy Bachman, Super Saiyan, didn't know that he knew that I Love You Forever, read by Robert Munch specifically, what is his ultimate weakness. And I think it is a lot of people's ultimate weakness. Like, that is one of the most saddest, heartfelt books about the circle of life of all time. And he just broke down crying. He had this spiky yellow hair. His whole beard was so yellow. And that is when Cyrus Peart, Robert Munch, Pikachu, Krillin, Randy Bachman, and Burton Cummings, they all just got together for a big ass group hug. And, you know, Randy Bachman was seriously like to Burton Cummings. He said, look, I was about to call Tal Bachman on your ass, and he knows how to do Super Saiyan God mode, but I'm just about ready to go on tour. And he looked around at, you know, Cyrus Pert, Pikachu, Robert Munch, and Krillin, and he looked around and he said, we got our band. This is our band. So let's get on the road. Let's do our first show Christmas Eve in Etobicoke, and let's freaking go from there. So from what I heard, they had a great show in Etobicoke. That helped them really settle a lot of the differences. And, you know, I'm just so proud of them in like such a very extreme way that I just don't know what to do with myself right now. I'm just like so honored by everything that's been going on with all those people for just like really just like, you know, just being able to just say, look, we're going to be here for one another, and we're not going to stop everyone in the world from listening to our music live just because of our history. And it was just such a courageous moment between, you know, these two guys who I've looked up for in my entire lives. And I'm just like, I'm literally listening to the phone. However my friends, I was literally listening to the phone, like the phone conversations of these guys. I was just tearing up. I was tearing up to hell, right? And that's the first time I've cried since around 2017. So it was like, I thought about calling, you know, someone, but I just went for it by myself. And I just was like, y'all are just such incredible gents. And like, I look forward to your upcoming tour. And like, don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything, because you guys are anything and everything. Two guys from Manitoba, two guys from Winnipeg meet, and they have a storied career, and no one has a story like you guys. So I just want to commend you on your incredible story and say, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm so glad you met one another. I hope you have a courageous life with one another. So I think we have been talking in such an extreme tone this whole episode that I am so scared that it's possible that this whole episode could be peaking. Part of the union deal, well, the striking deal was that we had to fire our sound guy, so I'm doing sound tech all by myself. So please forgive us if this doesn't sound the best. We had to fire our sound tech, Yahtzee. He, like the board game. You know that board game where you roll the dice? Well, he was named after that. I used to play that game. I haven't for a while. It really broke my childhood when someone was like, you know that game Yahtzee? Well, it literally is just poker with dice for kids. And I said, oh, so that's why I'm hooked on gambling, and I gamble with shopping, because lots of times I buy things, like I buy like all the latest technology and video games and stuff like that, being like, okay, in 20 years from now, I'm going to sell this on the package on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to be a tri-billionaire. So yeah, so that's why I'm addicted to gambling and shopping, because of Yahtzee, that game. And someone broke my childhood by telling me, oh, that's actually based on freaking whatever you might call it. And whatever you might call it is poker. Yeah. So I just want to let you know, of course, we always have to talk about how this all relates back to me. I reported more news than I have on most episodes of this show, which I am really proud of. You know, sometimes we don't always get straight down to the bare bones of what's going on, but today we did, and I'm so proud beyond all belief of that. It's incredible the work we did here behind the scenes to make one of the greatest episodes of podcasting history. Yes. But it's time to tie it all back in, because this is why a lot of people watch this show, to how does this all tie into my career pursuing the ladder of Canadian entertainment show business. So behind the scenes, other than this podcast, there have been some other things going on behind the scenes. You hear me? So first off, I am in a live video and group that's live called The Big Three. And it's with Nathan Hare and Sam Burns. And behind the scenes, we've been wheeling and dealing, trying to wheel and deal our way throughout the Canadian entertainment landscape. And that sounds so hard, and it is. Because you could be wheeling and dealing your whole life behind the landscape. Maybe you have like secret things going on, and then you just gotta hope they work out. And if they don't work out, then history will never know that they were being worked on to begin with. So that's one thing I have to say to you. Second thing, as you all know, I am obsessed with all facets of Canadian entertainment. This is why I've been working on another Canadian entertainment music album with the help from Eliza Niemi. We've been working on it since the summer, but we've done some more recordings in December. Hopefully it will be ready next year. I know maybe people will see. I hope you like it. You literally have to do everything in this industry of Canadian entertainment, and thank the Lord that I enjoy doing everything. That's just part of my way. So hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. Now, there must be some other stuff going on, because there always is. Says a guy who is in the Canadian entertainment biz. He works and works at his craft every year. And at the end of the year, when everyone's drinking beer, he says, I cannot, I fear, because I'm allergic to, I choose not to drink beer. And I am also celiac. It hurts my back. I'm not even going to try to take another crack at the drink, which cost me a few years. And give me a few tears. Not really, he said, but I do always wish my name was Billy. Billy Stagger, the entertainer. I think things would have gone different. Are you sure about that? Said Rupert Grint. Grint? We all know Rupert Grint. He's an actor. Well, have you ever heard of this Canadian funding thing for music called Factor? It's far too complicated, Billy Stagger said. I could try with these grants, I could try them, but I'd be trying them till I'm dead. Dead, bed, Fred. These are all words that rhyme with bed, Dr. Seuss said. Dr. Seuss, where are yous? Oh, I'm just in the clouds, my friend. And I'm playing with a model train set. Look, here's the funny little caboose. He threw the caboose down to me and it hit me in the eye. It was at that moment I started to cry. I said, well, this is my second time crying since 2017. The first time was when Randy Bachman and Burton Cummings were being mean to each other. They weren't being brothers. They were being brothers from another mother's. We're all related in this life, he said. Yeah, I think you might be right. He shed with his honesty and his verbal prowess. Verbal prowess? Let's raise a chalice to 2025, the year of Canadian Entertainment. Canadian Entertainment? I thought that was just a myth I dreamed about in my dreams. He said, I thought Canadian Entertainment was one of your schemes. No, Dr. Seuss. It's a real thing. Why are you still talking to me up in the clouds? Don't you know you're being far too loud? I'm going to get a noise complaint from my neighbors, he said. And my neighbors, well, they're interesting and they're so well read. They've read all of your books and some more. We wish you were a Canadian. We wish you were. We adore. You adore? You adore with a s'more on a floor? You want to go to the shore and do some chores by cleaning up the beach and giving yourself a metal star board at the back of the ship and then taking a dip with the salsa and whipped cream? And then you think you're going to make the perfect hockey team to be able to watch heated rivalry and smoke the green because it's legal in Canada? And you think that you are a mean one, Mr. Grinch, even though you know that everything ain't as easy, it ain't a cinch, but you try and you fly just like a flying wing monkey in the sky that was friends with the girl from Wicked. You know who I'm talking about. She was so wicked. There's no word that rhymes with wicked, he said. How about wicked? No, wicked, you can't rhyme the same word together. The man yelled at the cloud to Dr. Seuss. Oh, well, I'm going to take my caboose. I'm going to play with my model train set in the sky. And by the way, I faked my birth records. I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, too. Just like Johann Sebastian Bach, just like Richard Cummings, just like Randy Bachman, and just like Pokeroo. I don't know why I faked my birth certificate. It's just something that I did. And by the way, yes, the Grinch, that takes place in Winnipeg, Manitoba as well too, kid. So next time you're reading one of my stories and you're finding it kind of boring and you think that you would rather be offshoring your bank account to the Cayman Islands that we've all heard about, well, maybe it is time that you remember this September that not December, well, it is December, and all my stories take place in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I think that's a pretty good place to leave off for today. I'm so happy you decided to come back to this podcast. This is just like one of the joys of our lives, and I thank you for watching the amazing year-end review. Sorry it took us so long to get another episode out. There was just like a lot behind the scenes stuff going on as we discussed before. But thank you for being the best podcast fans in the world. And all the best in 2025. Thanks for supporting this amazing podcast. And we believe with all of our hearts that we will be seeing you strongly in the year 2026. So see you there soon. Canadian Entertainment Podcast fans, you make our heart balloon 3 times larger, just like we've always said. Have a great rest of 2025. Everybody, we'll talk to you so soon.